Hey guys, you guys know I wrote the book Daddy, I'm the Man You Could Have Been. I'm here with Terrence and we're going to discuss about fatherhood, about manhood. I think a lot of times brothers don't really understand their roles. And I'm going to ask Terrence a couple of questions about some of his experience as a father. And how many children you have, T?
Three.
Three,
Yeah.
okay. And what age when you had your first child?
I was 30.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I was 30.
You did better than me. I was 16. So, what made you feel that you was ready for fatherhood?
At the time I was married, and and that's I guess one of the things that married folks do, right? You planning life together, and then you're like, oh, I want to have a baby, so let's have a baby.
Okay.
So we did that and all that cool stuff. But then then life happened, and then got divorced. Right? But
Right.
that didn't eradicate the parts of still being a dad and ensuring that I was still there for my son.
So, I hear what you're saying, and you're saying as far as things happen. I think a lot of us as men,
Mm-hmm.
I think we kind of, feel like, okay, this is the thing to do.
Right.
I just feel like fatherhood and marriage is not for everybody. How do you feel about that?
I agree 1,000%. I agree 1,000%. No, it's not for everybody, right? And so the pressure of thinking that I'm dating somebody, and then the next step we take is we get married. Well, I think that both individuals have to sit down and really iron out and really talk out loud. What are our goals? Where do we see ourselves, and then at the same time, where do we want this relationship to go? Right? I'm not out here saying go out and make a bunch of babies and
Right.
and not be married. No, that's not what I'm saying. But at the same time, ensure that if a commitment like marriage is something that you want, or even want to go down that path, it's something that you both are on the same accord with, and that you're ensuring that marriage is a partnership. Aside from it, being bonded by God, and him having His love and eyes all over it, we know that part of it. But at the same time, doing His work, doing His will, you just got to ensure that whatever you're doing, you're doing the right thing. Because nobody should get married to get divorced, right? So
Right.
you want to make sure that you guys are talking, and that's what I would say. I've only been married once, I've only been divorced once, but that's where where I'm at in my life, where it's that I would be for me to do it again, or to go down that path again. It just had to be somebody that we're both on the same accord, and we both want those same things.
I hear what you're saying about far as togetherness.
Mhm.
The way I look at things when it comes to relationships, right? I think most people don't really understand themselves.
Agreed.
So before you can get into a relationship or want to be a father, of course, if you read the book, I had a kid at 16. I was just practicing, so it was just reckless. But once you understand who you are,
Right.
and understand your role, and I think most men don't understand their role. I think, like just like you said, I think we so caught up in tradition
Correct.
that this is what you should do, and then once we get to this point, and a lot of times women put pressures on us about getting married, making a commitment, and I think that a lot of brothers do that, and not really ready, because if you can't take care of yourself, how you gonna take care of family?
Yeah, no, and then just to kind of piggyback, right, and add too, it's not so much the pressure that a woman's putting on you, it's society that puts on you, right?
That's true.
You
That's
look
true.
at, you look at you're looking at, the Joneses and the Smiths, and you're saying, oh, well, they're doing it this way. Well, you're only just looking at what they're doing. You don't know
Right.
what's happening behind closed doors. You don't even know how they even got to that point. So, because it's not just the pressure of the woman, but no, it's the pressure of
Society.
what society or what your parents may be putting down, or just
Right.
what you, like you just said, what you think you're supposed to do, and that's just not even true.
Yeah, I think, because my thing is when we always have videos about finance, but it's so important to get to the core of the foundation, and the foundation is the man. And I feel it's important once you can get to the man and understand him, and he needs to understand himself, and then he'll make better choices for his family. So we always talking about generation wealth, but if we don't get to him, right, because there's a lot of single women out there that, and I always say a lot of boys lost a lot of good women because they just didn't grow up. And I think if you check yourself or you wreck yourself, as Ice Cube would say, I think we need to get to them. And I think we have to, as men, you have to be honest with yourself, right? To know if this is what you want, or this is something that you just want to try out. You know, this is life. It's a one-way ticket. So I think more men, young men that are out there, I think you need to really take your time to know who you are, what you want, before you turn around and take on a family, because it's wind up being in a situation divorce, because people always say people grow every 5 to 10 years, right? So if you don't grow together, you grow apart, because you never knew each other from the giddy up, and you were never friends. It was such a physical attraction. Then after that, when the rent ain't paid, nobody trying to be physical, right? So because at the end of the day, it comes down to dollars and cents in a relationship, because you're trying to build, right?
Absolutely.
So it's what you bring to the table, and not just monetary, but emotional as well. So I think it's important for men to really check themselves, what they really want, and don't get into something just because, quote unquote, it's traditional. I think we need to do that first.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just again, just to piggyback or even add, you kind of said it all, knowing yourself and knowing exactly, before you, decide to take on a family, even, or whatever you guys decide to do, just be in it together, having those same conversations, and have the tough conversations up front, because, we all think that things will be always just glorious, and things will be always peaches and cream, or things in utopia. That's fake world. But having the conversations of, you see who I am, you see how I'm acting. This is who I am. Believe me the first time, right? I'm gonna believe you the first time, so that there's no such things as putting on airs or the first time. No, it's this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. But have that tough conversation and have those things up front. And when you do decide to have a family and have kids, the first thing as a man, you take care of your kids, right? You take care of them, not only, again, not just financially, but emotionally. You're there to support them. And that's the biggest thing. So, I have my kids every other week, right? And I've worked it out, with their, moms, and they're great. They got great moms. I'm a great dad, and you just make sure that, you're there, you're supportive, you take care of them. And then you just make it happen, and that's just what we do.
And what I would like to say for women, just like you said, you basically see what you see is what you get. I always say that you need, say 10 out of 7, or 7 out of 10 of qualities, a minimum of 5 of the qualities that you need in a relationship. And what happens is, what mistakes people do, you get in a relationship A, and this person has all these great things, and they have 2 or 3 things you don't like. So you go into another relationship, and you make sure the other relationship that don't have those same 2 or 3 things that you don't like. But you forget about the other qualities that the first relationship that you got and that you did like. So you never deviate for what you like or whatever your standards are. You need to always keep whatever your standards are, because if you don't, you go to that next relationship and you're like, okay, well, he doesn't do what John did, but now he does this. But you didn't, the qualities that John had, you should have went with Paul with those same qualities that you needed, because you need to keep your standards. And a lot of women out there are saying they don't want to settle, and don't. I don't think you should. I think you're worth more, and brothers have to step up. You shouldn't have to step down to that level to make them feel comfortable.
Yeah, I guess similar to like that whole 80-20 rule, right? You leave the 20, or you leave the 80 to go find that 20, but then you end up with 20%. So again, everybody just sit down and, I think the first thing you said, know thyself.
Yeah,
you gotta know thyself first before you start to engage and to think you're going to change somebody else, or that you're going to make them to whom what you think they're supposed to be, and it's vice versa. So relationships are tough, but some of the last relationships that I've had in my life have been ones that are fruitful, ones that we can necessarily not like nobody's kissing nobody's butt, so to speak, right? So everybody's on par of, hey, this is me and this is you, and we bring it together just to make sure that it makes sense. I mean, some of the other relationships, anybody that's married that's been together, how many times you go home to your spouse, you don't like that person, right? But you continue to stick it out because there was something at the very beginning that you guys had identified or talked about that I'm going to make sure that we're going to make this work and we're going to make things happen.
Well, yeah, that's true, and I think a lot of times people stay together for the children, and I think that's not a good thing too, because the children wind up seeing that you're unhappy, or mom you're unhappy, or daddy's unhappy.
Right.
The other thing is women realize that the man that you get, if he's a boy, you cannot make him a man. You have to get a man from the giddy up. If he's still a boy, you leave him in that boy position. You're not going to change him. He, like you said, see what you get is what you see, right? So you gotta keep it real. And if he's not what you want, you have to move on. And then don't worry about, oh, it's the dating. So if you get somebody, and I'm not on the dating site or anything like that, but I think if dating sites will work,
Right.
if people are really honest. But the problem is people are not honest with each other because, that's like a comedian said, he don't want to tell his woman that he was with another woman because he loves her. So you say, what is that? But he really doesn't want to be honest with her and tell him how he really feels. But the thing is, if we were honest with each other from the giddy up, how we really feel about ourselves, what we want out of life, then things be better. People just got to be honest with each other and keep it real with each other.
Yeah, and on both sides, you gotta receive it, right?
Exactly.
So again, if somebody's being honest with you, you gotta receive it. You can't be like, oh, well, I'll change his mind, or I'll change your mind, or this, that, and the third. No, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So you gotta live in that and, be in it, but find happiness and just understanding that, what's good for Kevin may not be good for Terrence and vice versa. So you gotta find, what your sweet spot is and what makes sense to you.
And the other thing is, last but not least, I think it's important as a man, being a father so young, I have to grow up really fast, and it's just kind of different experience that I had through my life. And if you read the book and you go to straighttalktoday.com, you can order the book, and it talks about my childhood, being married, and so on and so forth. But I think it's important to want somebody to want you, not need you. And some boys want a woman to need him. Men want a woman to want him. And I'm gonna leave on that note. All right, guys. So we're gonna be doing different videos. So stay tuned, and we'll be different topics. And let me know what you guys think.